Hello, my name is Maris, and welcome to my show, Critical Root Zone, where we dig deep with inquiring minds to get to the root of sustainability, going below the surface to rebuild trust while supporting all voices on our journey to a climate-positive planet. How you like that? It's nice, right?
Dig it.
And next on the Cannabis series, we will be talking to Labcanna business owner, Sarah Besenius.
You did it. You did it great.
And a horticulture enthusiast, a plant lover.
I just like house plants and outdoor plants and all plants, really.
Yeah, me too. I could probably learn something from you one of these days.
We can propagate.
Yeah.
Have a propagate day.
That was a thing I just learned how to do.
Amazing.
Yeah. Which means replant, basically.
Correct.
Yeah.
Or you can water propagate. There's a lot we can get into.
Yeah, haven't done that yet. Ooh, you're my plug. Perfect. This is a Labcanna, our Labcanna friends, which I've been talking about all throughout the first couple episodes with Frederick. That's where Frederick and I met, was at your party.
Yes, thanks for coming.
At your celebration. Oh my gosh, I came solo too, remember? I just showed up. I was like, I think I had a backpack on. I was like, where can I put this? In the corner somewhere?
You are the party.
Just
you bring the
walking
party.
around. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I had so much fun. I ate a lot of the chocolates.
Yes, thank you, Tempered. Fine chocolate. We all did.
So I was straight chilling at the end of the night. Like, I was going to go out. I was like, I don't know. Actually, I did. I went to, somebody invited me to a comedy show afterwards.
Great time to go.
And I was feeling great.
Yeah.
I was feeling really good.
Yeah.
But so that's where Frederick and I met. And I met you before that, though. No, I met you that night.
We met maybe in passing at a hot box thing that was at Labcanna.
Maybe I did, because that was before the tornado. That was before the pandemic.
Right.
That was before 2020.
Yep.
And Hotbox Fitness is the gym that I run. Wow. And
No big deal.
at the time, I didn't. I was kickboxing. I was promoting, and we teamed up with you guys because Hotbox. Maybe you guys know the pun. I don't know. we decided that Labcanna would be a good fit, which it totally is. And we set up and we had a great time. Not a lot of people came, but it was okay because we had a great time.
Hey, we had fun.
Yeah,
That's what counts.
That was a good learning experience for me. So
And we met.
Yeah. So let's talk about you, Sarah.
What you want to know?
Tell me your story, Labcanna story, how it all came together.
Well,
Wherever you want to start.
Yeah, I'm from Nashville. I left Nashville to go to college in New York, where I met my husband. We moved back in 2016, and Labcanna. 2015. Time flies. Ooh.
Love that.
Labcanna started as an e-commerce store, 2014. And when Derek and I joined, we kind of joined, I don't want to get like too deep too fast, but I guess we're here because we kind of can't avoid it. So my experience with cannabis outside of just casual recreational use, really the biggest impact that it had for me and my family was in 2016, Derek and I were in a pretty severe, really freak car accident on the interstate. That's a lot of his story, so I won't get into it, but I did see the impact that it had on a traumatic brain injury that he sustained during that car accident.
Right.
That left our future kind of in a really scary balance of what could happen, and we'll get into the endocannabinoid system and all of the effects that phytocannabinoids have on that system. But essentially one of the roles that the endocannabinoid system plays is in, why am I blanking? Cannabinoids are a neuroprotectant.
Yes.
Spoiler, I, again, won't go too far into it, but Derek did have cannabinoids in his system at the time of the accident. So this TBI that he sustained that could have been really scary and was really scary.
Yeah.
Wound up, he healed from it. And so we credit cannabis to that today.
Yeah.
And so after that, we were really wanting to get involved in this industry. And Labcanna was, like I said, in existence, an e-commerce platform. And they'd started growing on our family farm, my brother. And we started in a greenhouse. And all of that just kind of snowballed into starting to manufacture our own products. We opened our brick and mortar Labcanna East in 2019.
That's the spot. That's the spot.
That's the spot. That's where all the magic happened. Yeah. Derek actually was one of the many people that we had building that store, physically building it, lessons learned, get a contractor. But yeah, we poured our heart and soul into it. And cannabis is an incredibly healing plant. It has so many properties that we really just scratched the surface of.
Right.
Yeah, that's our story.
The nut and bolts, everyone.
Yeah.
Well, beautiful story.
Thanks.
I'm just happy to know you both. There's so many. We're about to make so many memories. I already know. But I want to pull up Labcanna's page, and just show everybody, what they're about. About us, Labcanna is a vertically aligned cannabis company that grows and produces quality hemp-derived Delta-8 THC and CBD products, bringing the healing power of cannabis to communities locally and nationwide. In addition to our own CBD and Delta-8 product lines, Labcanna also works with private label customers to bring their vision to life. So local company just doing great things. If you are in Nashville and you haven't heard of them, you should definitely check them out. And we have a ton of products that we're going to talk about today too, as you've probably seen already in the front page or on the front of this desk. I'm just reading and thinking at the same time. Social justice. Labcanna is proud to be the first cannabis company in Tennessee to partner with the Last Prisoner Project. Since 2020, we have been working to raise funds for their Roll It Up for Justice program, encouraging our customers to add a donation to their purchase at labcanna.com or at our retail store, Labcanna East. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, Last Prisoner Project is an incredible organization. They work to get nonviolent incarcerated individuals out of prison that have for cannabis-related crimes. Obviously, retailers who are reaping the benefits of this industry.
Yep.
Meanwhile, we have people who are imprisoned for it. So we encourage our customers at the store to roll it up for justice. We also have online donations, and we just partner with them whenever we can, wherever we can. They're a great group.
Last Prisoner Project. Okay, and what an interesting concept too, because I think a lot of people aren't thinking about that angle.
Right.
Which is, this has been outlawed for so long, and there are certain people that are in prison now for it. And we are on the verge of opening up the doors for everyone.
Right.
So we have to figure out that social reform. That's a huge part of it.
Of course. And certain states are really spearheading that. I know that New York is an example that people who have been, have had nonviolent, it's always like that caveat, but there are people who have been really the victims of the war on drugs. They're putting them at the forefront of the accessibility for licensing, and not every state is doing that. So I think it's an important part of the decriminalization is really just, reconciling with the past.
Reconciling with the past is a huge one. Gosh. Yeah. In so many ways. So this plant, I talked to Frederick about hemp and Cannabis Sativa. Let's go back. Cannabis Sativa, the mother, the species. And I think we're back on us.
Yeah.
The species plant has hemp on one side and then marijuana on the other side. But the marijuana term was coined by the government, right? Even during the war on drugs, that's when they started the whole marijuana name, right?
It really has to do with Mexican immigration, and it's a really racist term that sounds Spanish. It is not. And it was used during, reefer madness, and basically bringing it as reefer this is an immigration problem.
Yep.
Just really tying in all of the terrible atrocities into one plant.
Yeah, because everybody just calls it marijuana now. It's just like marijuana, yeah. Marijuana.
Right, but even still, we say at Labcanna, call it cannabis.
Yeah.
Because it is cannabis. Marijuana is cannabis, hemp is cannabis.
Exactly, but that's where it can get confusing.
Correct.
Because people are like, wait, but cannabis is not hemp, but right? Cannabis is not hemp, but it is. So that's where I say the two, even just on the podcast, because I want people to know the difference. But so here it is. When you say cannabis, it's usually referring to the flower.
Correct.
What we're talking about right now on this episode is the flower that is CBD, which hemp is also still CBD, but there's higher concentrations of THC in the flower.
Correct. So hemp is really like an industrial term where you're going to use, and I'm sure Fred can speak more into this, but different parts of the plant, the fibers are not as, those are going to be in the stalks and the stems. They're not going to be in the flower part of the plant. So exactly like you're saying, CBD, hemp-derived cannabinoids is really what you're going to hear in Tennessee and in markets where hemp is regulated to have Delta-9 be the intoxicating illegal part of the plant. So
Perfect.
Honestly, the biggest frustration for me is that
Segue.
it's so overcomplicated and convoluted when we could just legalize the plant and regulate the plant rather than creating all these weird loopholes and complications. And, we could go down that rabbit hole, but
we can. Yeah, let's do it. I mean, a lot of people, I feel like my friends were like, Delta 8, yeah.
Right.
Like, I love Delta 8. We're going to talk about these Delta 8 gummies over here. And tell me more about how that compares to the weed on the street.
Sure. So Delta 8 is naturally occurring in the plant, as is Delta 9. Delta 9 can occur in much higher quantities. So like we were talking about earlier, we're now seeing over, 30% cannabinoids and a high percentage of Delta 9, which is the intoxicating in classic marijuana, even though we're call it cannabis.
Okay, so Delta 9 is the most similar to weed that
Delta 9. So rewind it back a little bit. So the main components of an actual plant that are going to contribute to the experience is going to be terpenoids, flavonoids, which is like the flavor and taste of the plant, and that are chemically produced by the plant naturally, and the cannabinoids. So CBD is a cannabinoid, Delta 9 is a cannabinoid. There are over 100 cannabinoids that are still being studied.
Right.
So Delta 9 is the one that legislators determined was the illegal one. That's the bad one. So in hemp, Delta 9 is typically in low quantities. It can produce in higher than legal quantities here in Tennessee. So it puts an extra burden on the farmer to make sure that they're maintaining this crop, maybe harvesting earlier than they should to get the best yield. But it's all based on this really arbitrary 0.3% Delta 9 THC.
Right.
So like I said, Delta 8 is also naturally occurring, but in really small quantities. And currently there isn't a strain where you can accentuate that specific cannabinoid like you can CBD for hemp or Delta 9 or CBG in a high CBG flower. You can kind of train these plants to express more of one cannabinoid or a different terpene profile.
Yeah.
Just like crossbreeding anything.
Right.
So Delta 8 is typically extracted, CBD is extracted from a hemp plant in a high quantity. You're growing a high, 20% CBD plant, extracting that into its crude oil, refining that into distillate, and then finally isolating the CBD molecule out of that. So all of the terpenoids, flavonoids, all of those other cannabinoids are filtered in that process out. And then the CBD goes through another distillation process where, and again, I'm not the scientist on this, but I will say it's...
You're doing pretty damn good.
It's like acidic, different acid, like you change the pH, change the temperature, ways that chemistry works.
Yeah, they're all in the labs.
Yeah, exactly. And CBD is converted to Delta 8. But because it is all derived from that chain through a legal hemp plant, Delta 8 is legal here in Tennessee. Delta 8 and Delta 9, really the chemical difference has to do with where the double bond is on the carbon chain. So molecularly, they are very similar. And in that way, they react similarly in your body. So Delta 9 and Delta 8 both give a classic high. Delta 8 reportedly has less of the kind of paranoia and like negative effects, and actually was studied in, I believe it was the 80s, 90s. Okay. Delta 8 was isolated and used in a study for kids that were going through chemotherapy to reduce nausea and vomiting, and had really high effects, just similarly to Delta 9 as we see in, different treatments. So.
Yeah. Thank you for that. That was great. That was perfect. I feel like for anyone that's really interested, like you do have to look over it a couple times. Like it's not something, I don't feel like it's highly digestible, and maybe that's just because it's been banned and like not spoken of for so long that like we just don't understand. Like the fact that we have an cannabinoid system.
Exactly.
Let's talk about that, because apparently this is a system we've always had.
Right.
And that's like very significant that there are receptors in these plants that connect specifically to a system that we have in our bodies.
Right. So
whoa.
It's crazy. Yeah. And I think that just the fact that we haven't been able to study it, whenever you get these bite-sized pieces of information from a specific study, as consumers, you have to digest all of that information, and it's muddy. It's difficult. Whereas, with something that can be studied, we could all have kind of the same barometer of information, and you wouldn't have to get down into the nitty-gritty of, specific, cannabinoids and all of that good stuff.
Yeah, you kind of nailed it earlier when you're like, we have all these limitations and like laws that are just like we're there's trying to get ways around it when it's just like, hey,
let's study it. Let's learn about it.
Let's
Let's
open
not
up
be
the
scared.
floodgates, man. Like, let's just do that.
Yes.
But like, so just to name a few, I'm gonna pull up another little guy I got. So just to name a few, or actually, I found a cool article too. The 15. Let's see. CBD, right, and THC. THC, I think this is the benefits of both. Okay, this is the 15 essential health benefits of THC. So that's the psycho. Wait, why am I blanking?
So this is just saying THC, which this references both Delta 8 and Delta 9 THC. So it's kind of like
but why
the Cannabis Sativa? This would be like the parent of both of those.
Psychoactive is what the word that I was thinking of.
Correct.
Psychoactive. THC psychoactive, CBD non-psychoactive.
Nailed it.
So CBD, you're not getting high. You ain't getting high in CBD.
Nope.
Which a lot of the products that you guys have at Labcanna are mostly CBD based, right? Because the legal amount of THC to be in there
is 0.3%.
Is 0.3. So just some of the benefits: provides pain relief, eases nausea and vomiting, protects brain cells, which that's personal to you and Derek, right? Effective sleep aid, helps treat PTSD, promotes brain growth. THC increases appetite, enhances the senses. I know that for sure. THC is antibacterial. That's an interesting one. Antioxidant, anti-inflammatory. I don't even know that word.
Bronchodilator.
What's that mean? You know?
It dilating pupils. It dilates the blood vessels in your lungs.
Oh, is that a good thing?
It's a good thing.
Oh, that's a good thing. Okay. Potential anti-tumor agent, muscle relaxant, anti-convulsant.
Like epilepsy, seizures.
God, that's great.
There are so many things that we could benefit from if only it was being studied. And a lot of those benefits have been studied, and yet the FDA, we're still on a Schedule 1. But there are FDA-approved drugs that are isolated forms of that. So you're not getting the full benefit of the plant, but still, criminalizing it and using it at the same time.
So as of right now, is it still Schedule 1?
Correct.
Oh, my God. That makes no sense.
Yeah. Yep.
I thought for sure it moved around. No, it's still Schedule 1. But, cocaine and crystal meth are what, Schedule 2? That's what I hear.
I don't even know.
That's what I think of research. Cocaine and crystal meth are Schedule 2, so they're less harmful. And also alcohol. That's legal and free, and that's actually poison.
Right.
Right? Ethanol is poison, and that's what alcohol is. But yet, it's legal. Huh. That's funny. That's weird. That's interesting. That's a whole nother conversation. We ain't gonna do that today. But let's talk about these products you got in front of me. Let's talk about these products. So starting with the oils or the tinctures, right?
Yep.
You got the isolate, and then I believe that there's two other kind of levels or tiers based on the THC amount, right?
It's really just based on the cannabinoid amount. The THC is really still at the same low level, below 0.3%.
Okay. Yeah, because that's legal. That's what it is.
Exactly. Got to stick with it. So the two full spectrum tinctures that we have are just kind of a lower level CBD and a higher dose of CBD. So the Formula Black is an isolate product. That was actually our first product that we came out with. So no other cannabinoids in that, just CBD, which is really beneficial. But something that I'm sure if you haven't heard about, you will hear about in this series is the entourage effect, which is all of the cannabinoids and terpenoids and all of the components of the plant that work well together. So even in these studies where they're isolating CBD in this product where we've isolated CBD, it has a benefit, but really the plant works best when you let the plant do what the plant does. So using the full scope of cannabinoids that were produced in that plant.
Spectrum.
Right.
Full spectrum is the isolate.
This is isolate. Full spectrum is the opposite.
Oh,
Full spectrum would be like a spectrum of colors, the spectrum of cannabinoids.
Okay.
An isolate product, you hone in on just one of those cannabinoids.
Okay. So this is just the CBD.
Yep.
And then we've got this guy.
And then Formula Green, which is a lower dose, like 20 milligrams per serving. It's a great starting point. A lot of people who have tried CBD products, maybe they got them on Amazon or something that didn't have a COA and it was hemp seed oil, have tried CBD products, had a negative effect because it didn't do anything, maybe because it wasn't anything.
Yeah.
And then they're unwilling to try it again. So this is a great low-cost starting point product that's still going to have an impact, but it's not anything, scary or intimidating
Tell me
to a
about
consumer.
the impact. Like, what do you mean by that?
So your endocannabinoid system it's a deep well to get into. It's still being studied, but essentially it's a cell signaling system that impacts a wide range of functions in your body, including your mood, your sleep, your appetite, inflammation, and a lot of these things can't really say because of the FDA, but here we are on a fun podcast, so it's okay.
Yeah.
So any range of...
The truth is the truth, baby. That's all I gotta say.
Exactly. So the endocannabinoid system essentially turns on and turns off. Your body can start producing these endocannabinoids and also produce enzymes to break them down when their function has been served. So anything, let's say that you have in your inflammatory system, you have a cell that's over signaling, phytocannabinoids from the plant, if you ingest them, can bind to a receptor and kind of soothe an overreactive receptor or encourage a receptor that's under-receptive. So it just helps bring your body back into
homeostasis.
Homeostasis, exactly.
Yeah. So it's just all good all around.
It's all good, and it's not like taking some type of pill that's going to suppress something. It's really just helping your body function how your body is supposed to function.
It's like a vitamin, but like nature's vitamin.
Nature's vitamin.
Yeah. Formula Green Plus, mint flavor.
Yeah. I will say cannabis, is a plant extract, so it's a little bitter, but we like a nice little minty aftertaste.
In the morning, right?
Yeah. In the morning or before bed.
So you put it underneath your tongue, and then you're not supposed to eat or drink anything with it. You're just supposed to put it, or what's the deal?
Yeah. You just leave it under your tongue as long as you can. It's going to be absorbed in we say 1 to 2 minutes. In bed, I'll drip it in there and just sit as long as I possibly can, and then it kind of just take a sip of water and it's gone. Yeah, it leaves a nice refreshing mint taste.
And so over time, because this is supposed to be used daily.
Correct. Twice a day if you can, because your endocannabinoid system is made up of those endocannabinoids, endo meaning from within, phyto from the plant, and also enzymes. So it's going to produce the endocannabinoid and then produce the enzyme shortly after to break it down once it's done its job.
Okay.
So you need to, as your body, it's going to break down, the enzymes you produce in your body are going to break down phytocannabinoids in the same way they break down endocannabinoids. So you have to keep putting that in your system because your body's naturally going to kind of digest through it, if that makes sense.
Wow.
Yeah. You got to keep up with it. So if you put it in, just take a dropper a night, it may have an impact right then, or you may not even notice it because you have to build that up in your system because your body is producing enzymes that are going to be breaking it down. I
do know that my friend, he's my massage therapist, my fascia worker, and he started taking this, and he's got PTSD, and he's got his personal story is fantastic. He's one of my favorite people, and he started taking all of your products.
Cool.
And he was dancing around. He was moving around, and it was just so cute to watch him because he's like, I am just doing great. And he was moving his, I love to see it.
So what a pain-free life can look like is,
this is miracle stuff. This is miracle, natural, what do we say, natural vitamins. And we got other stuff over here. And I want to say, we're going to leave these out because we got Derek coming up. We got our next runner up here. We can talk more about some of these products. I love the heightened gummies, the Delta 8 gummies. Man, sometimes I gotta take a little halfsies because I'll be feeling real good sometimes, and sometimes that's just for me. But I really think that everybody should try it and be educated. Right? Be educated. So now you know kind of how it goes. But if you want to find out more, just go on over to Labcanna and check that shit out.
Come say hey.
Come say hey. Look, they're super sweet and smiley. And it's a great place. And this is the future. Sustainable wise, right? We're taking care of the people.
Right.
And the people are the planet, and it all is related. It's all connected. So thanks so much. We even went over. You thought we were going to have enough time, but we're going 25 minutes.
I know. And there's still more to cover.
Yeah, there is. And so we'll probably have to do this again. You down?
Yeah, I'm down.
Also, cheers with Mad Tasties. Thanks for bringing these.
Cheers.
These are CBD hemp extract, right? We talked about this earlier. Well, I'll get Derek to talk about it. But thank you so much for being here. Cheers to that.
Cheers. Thanks for having me.
So if you're thinking about having your own podcast or need help streaming or video or photography, any of those things, my guys Aaron and Stuart are your guys. So Elm Hill Pike Studio, that's where we are right now. It's an incredible experience, super easy for me, and it can be super easy for you. So I'm putting the plug in. You can email me. It's criticalrootzone@gmail.com. And you can also email me to share your experience or maybe ideas or a guest that you might want to be on my show. Any of that. I want to hear from you because your voice definitely matters. And until the next episode on CRZ, which we are coming to an end in the cannabis series for now, because there's so much more. But I'm excited to get your husband, Derek, on here, and we're going to talk a little bit more about his personal experience and more about Labcanna and actually policy. He's a policy man. I'm looking at him right now. He's a policy man. We're going to talk about policy. All right. Well, yeah, just remember. Ask questions, inspire others to be better, and anything is possible when we stand united. Thank you for listening to Critical Root Zone. If you'd like to reach out, email us at criticalrootzone@gmail.com. Critical Root Zone is produced in Nashville, Tennessee, copyright 2022.